Is it out of line if I begin by saying,
Yes.
I don't really need you today? I mean,
Okay. You know what, Paulie? I'll leave and let you just go ahead and, I don't know, riff for the next 4 hours.
I have more than enough to talk about for the next 4 hours.
Okay, you do, huh?
There is more than enough to talk about for the next 4 hours. And quite honestly, I don't need you mucking it up.
Okay.
So, just let's make sure when you speak, it's worthwhile, okay?
Okay, Paul.
Don't slow me down, okay?
right.
Especially, look, the worst is when I have to slow everything down and hit the brakes and explain the game of football to you.
Exactly.
So we can't have that.
It's so bad.
In fact, you know what? You want to just treat today like, I don't know, your typical Wednesday and or Thursday during the D-backs season where, you get the afternoon off anyway because of D-backs day baseball. So, if you just want to go that route here on a Monday, well, feel free.
I would, you know what, Paulie, I'd love to leave right now. I really would love to do that right now. But, it's a situation where I can't, Paul, because I have to come back here and I have to face the music in regard to the Arizona Cardinals, of course, and the Detroit Lions, Paul. And what I have to face is the fact, this is just me.
Say it.
This is me.
Admit it.
I believe that the Detroit Lions won the line of scrimmage, and that's why they won this game. Okay, now look, I was talking about it all week, building up to it all week. This is going to be it. This is going to be the blood sport. This is going to be the game of football, and it was. It was, and it was a competitive game. That's why I'm encouraged, Paulie, because it was a competitive game. And yet at the same time, I'm bitterly disappointed because of how they lost the game. They were competitive. There's no denying. Just like against the Buffalo Bills, they were competitive. They lost by 6 points up in Buffalo to a team that I believe is going to win the AFC East. It's a good team up there. They lost this game by a possession as well to a team that was just better.
What did I tell you before the game? It was going to rival the most physical game in the 19-year history of State Farm Stadium.
Yeah, you're right. You did
the
say
Seattle Slugfest circa 2016, that epic 6-6 overtime tie. And it did not disappoint. It was Big Red against the Honolulu Black and Blue by the time this thing was done. In fact, some pencil neck after the game asked the head coach, geez, how physical was that game, coach?
We didn't lose the game because of effort and violence and finish, and so that is that I'm enthused about that because that team is a good football team that plays extremely hard and plays with violence, and I thought we matched it. We just got to play cleaner in all three phases there.
Ultimately, though, did the Cardinals lose it because, Kyler Murray was their leading rusher.
Yeah. Well, you know the way I feel about that, Paulie. If your quarterback is your leading rusher, if you have to have your quarterback run the ball for you to be successful, you're in trouble. Okay? Even in today's NFL, and I was saying this 2-3 years ago, when everybody was going to the spread and your quarterback and you got to be able to run the ball. No, I was saying it then and I believed it then and I'll say it now because it is the truth. You have to be able to run the ball. This is in a gross simplification of the truth. It is. The Detroit Lions could run the ball. The Arizona Cardinals could not, Paulie. And honestly, Jared Goff needs to be in that kind of offense. He doesn't need to be one-dimensional. I think you saw what would happen when he gets one-dimensional from time to time. He needs to be in a balanced offense just the way Kyler Murray needs to be in a balanced offense as well. The Arizona Cardinals, when James Conner has 9 carries for 17 yards, I'm sorry. You lost the game on the line of scrimmage.
When you didn't run the ball over the last quarter plus, the last 18 offensive snaps of the game were pass plays?
The definition of one-dimensional. Definition right there, right? And you did not want to be one-dimensional, especially when you had a guy named Aiden Hutchinson putting his hand in the dirt on the edge.
We came into that game, right? And everyone's wondering, all right, what is Ben Johnson going to do? He's known for doing virtually anything at any time. He'll dial up different things week to week, radically different, breaks his own tendencies. So when he came out and he starts in 22 personnel and he has 6 offensive linemen and he has 2 tight ends, I mean, what sort of message did that send when the Lions come out on defense and they have 5 defensive linemen right out of the gate?
Yes. Paulie, I'm so glad you brought that up right there. The Detroit Lions, did they win the toss, Paul? No, they did not win the toss. Did they get the ball first, Paul?
Yes, they did.
Yes, they did. So your memory is good, Paul. That's glad. I'm glad to see that even though your hair is getting a little different, your memory is still there.
Okay,
Paul.
who had 7.5 minutes into the show? You're the winner. Paulie prop bet.
I'm just saying right now, Dan Campbell had his fingerprints all over Ben Johnson in that offense in that first series. Can I just say that right now? This was, you think you're tough right now? Watch this. The Detroit Lions came out in 12 personnel, 1 back, 2 tight ends, and the second tight end was an offensive lineman. Okay, they came out in what's called a heavy 12 personnel. Same thing as Paulie just said, 22 personnel, 2 backs, 2 tight ends. Only the second tight end was a 6th offensive lineman. That's called heavy 22. They came out and ran the ball because Dan Campbell said, this is what we're doing on the first possession. And you know what? That's what they did. And they took it down the field and scored.
And that's when you knew it was going to be a slugfest.
It was on.
What Dante Stills told us after the game. They knew right then and there what the Lions' approach was going to be.
Let me just say this right now. This is where the Arizona Cardinals are headed. It is. This is where they're headed. You go back and look at the Detroit Lions year 2, their year 2, and how much better they got. That's exactly where the Cardinals are right now. Year 2. They're not there yet, but they're getting there. And that's where the Lions started as well. And when they really kicked in with their rebuild was year 2 as well. It's a work in progress right now.
Well, don't say that like you're educating me. I'm the one who coined the Honolulu blueprint over a year ago, talking about what's the first thing the Lions did out of the gates when they're rebuilding that thing. 2 years before the Cardinals got hold of it, they took Penei Sewell, 7th overall. Cardinals took Paris Johnson Jr., 6th overall. What happens when you nail the head coach and GM combo, like the Lions have done with Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes? Just look at the way they've built that team. As we said, as an automaker uses, built football tough. That's what the Lions have done in the image of that city.
Yeah.
And so for all that, and everything that wasn't for the Cardinals, whether it was in the run game or third down or the deep passing attack, Kyler Murray after the game was remarkably positive. For those who have attended a Kyler Murray, nobody takes losing harder than Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
Yet here's what he had to say.
Yeah, in a sense, I mean, like I said, it's a good team. It's a good team, and I know what this team is capable of, and that's the exciting part. I know that's all it comes down to. I know what we're capable of. I love what we have in that locker room. Again, we just didn't make enough plays today, and I know those plays are out there to be made, and we will make them.
This is the thing that fires me up as well, because I know exactly what's going on in that meeting room today. I know exactly. There are going to be some jaws that are going to be squared, Basinonians. There's going to be some jaws that are going to be, there's going to be some guys watching this tape where their teeth are clenched. There's going to be those guys in there, and they're going to learn and get better because they got embarrassed on the line of scrimmage on tape. And yet the Cardinals are going to be able to coach off of it. Yeah.
I wonder if they're holding the team meeting in the training room. I mean, honestly, that was a physical.
Yeah, it was.
Thank goodness Washington is coming off a short week of Monday Night Football, and they have to travel. Put it that way.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.